The MCU has a villain problem. We all saw this coming since Phase 1, but now it's fully exploded in Phases 4 and 5. For every high evolutionary, we get a Taskmaster who doesn't talk, a Gorr who barely defeats a god, a Kang who gets beaten by ants. Literal ants!
No!
How did Marvel go from crafting icons like Thanos and Killmonger to whatever that guy from Eternals was? Stick around, because today I'll be fixing the MCU's villain problem once and for all, breaking down the core flaws and showing you how Marvel can make villains matter again.
And as long as there are those that remember what was, there will always be those that are unable to accept what can be.
To fix a problem, you've got to first understand what's really causing it. I looked into all 72 villains we've seen so far in the MCU, and the issue really comes down to 5 key factors. Number 1, suboptimal writing and pacing. Too many recent villains suffer from what I call third act introduction syndrome. They appear late, dump a load of exposition about why they're evil, and are promptly dispatched before the credits roll. Dar-Benn is a prime example, burdened with a tragic backstory that the movie treats as an afterthought. She shows up, says her planet is dying because of Captain Marvel, and that's it. We never feel her loss. She became a motive on legs. Number 2, the one-and-done plague. Marvel's been writing villains out like they're going out of style. Obadiah Stane, Yellow Jacket, Ultron, Hela, Killmonger, Red Skull, Gorr. The list is endless. You know what these characters all have in common? They were dead before their characters were fully developed and registered with us. Gorr the God Butcher. Let me rant about this one for a second. In the comics, he's this terrifying force of atheistic rage that makes gods question their own existence. Christian Bale signed up for that. What did he get? 5 minutes of backstory, a bunch of quips about catchphrase,
How exciting!
and a plot where his ultimate plan is to ask a space genie to take out all gods. That's not a true villain. That's administrative delegation. Number 3, multiverse overload and hero-centric focus. Look, I get it. Phase 4 had to introduce Ms. Marvel, She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and basically rebuild the entire Avengers roster from scratch. But somewhere in that process, villains became functions, not characters. They exist to trigger a hero's powers, force a team-up, or explain why the multiverse is falling apart this week. Kang, the guy who's supposed to carry the next 3 phases, felt smaller than his Loki variant who sat in a chair and talked. He Who Remains was weird, unsettling, specific. Kang the Conqueror was a PowerPoint presentation about variants. The hero-centric focus was on full display in Brave New World. The movie isn't about the leader or Red Hulk, it's about Sam Wilson's journey. Red Hulk isn't a character. He is a physical and moral obstacle for Sam to overcome just to validate him as the new Captain America. It's a powerful moment for the hero, but it comes at the complete expense of the villain, reducing a literal monster to a man who just needed a pep talk. Number 4, CGI replaced personality. Taskmaster in the comics is this snarky mercenary who copies fighting styles and talks trash while doing it. In Black Widow, silent CGI Terminator with a tragic backstory revealed in the 3rd act that nobody asked for. Fans were furious. Marvel took one of their most personality-driven villains and turned them into a screensaver. The deviants in Eternals were CGI wolves? Lizards? They had no motive, no lines, and served only to be punched by the heroes while the real villain, Icarus, was hiding in plain sight. Icarus himself was a Superman gone bad archetype, but his cold, wooden portrayal gave audiences little to connect with, making his betrayal feel hollow. When the finale of a movie is just 2 or 200 CGI models smashing into each other, the why gets forgotten. The High Evolutionary worked so well in Guardians 3 because his most villainous acts weren't CGI. They were psychological, surgical, and deeply personally cruel. We're getting spectacular, hollow-feeling final battles against villains we simply do not care about. Number 5, corporate constraints and tonal shifts. Let's be honest. Disney Plus has changed the game. The move to long-form series should be a golden opportunity for villain development. Loki and WandaVision proved this, but it's also created a new problem. The Disney-friendly tones sanded off the story's sharpest edges. Secret Invasion should have been a dark, Battlestar Galactica-style paranoid thriller. Instead, it was a muddled spy caper that culminated in Gravik becoming a super Skrull and having a generic CGI fistfight. But acknowledging the problem is the first step. The next step is the fun part, the fix. I've developed 4 principles. Think of them as the Marvel Villain Bible, the rules that should have governed every villain. First principle: tie their backstory to multiversal stakes. Dad was mean doesn't cut it anymore. We're playing in a sandbox with infinite timelines, cosmic entities, and time travel. Your villain's origin needs to match that scale. Here's what I mean. Instead of Kang saying, "I was exiled from my time," boring, we don't care. What if he said, "I'm the sole survivor of an incursion. I watched the TVA redline my entire reality. Everyone I loved was pruned, deemed unnecessary. My goal isn't conquest, it's revenge against the sacred timeline itself." You feel that? Suddenly, Kang isn't a generic conqueror. He's a victim of the same multiversal chaos our heroes are creating. His villain arc is our hero's fault. That's drama. That's stakes. Second principle: embrace moral ambiguity. The best MCU villains were right from their perspective. Thanos wanted to save the universe. Killmonger wanted to free oppressed people. Zemo wanted accountability for superheroes. Phases 4 and 5 have actually nailed this when they tried. Wen-Wu in Shang-Chi has been consistently ranked by fans as a top-tier villain. He's a grieving widower, a father twisted by loss. His methods were evil, but his motivation is a tragic, recognizable love. Wanda was a grieving mother. Namor was protecting his people from colonizers. These aren't monsters. They're protagonists of their own story who happen to clash with ours. So why do we keep getting Dar-Benz, one-note villains with generic motivations? Give me antagonists where the audience walks out saying, "I don't agree with their methods, but I get it." This is where characters like Kingpin, masterfully brought back in Daredevil Born Again, shines. Third principle: and this is my most fervent plea, stop writing villains out in their first movie. Marvel has been making this same mistake since Phase 1. You know why Loki works and why we love him? Because he keeps coming back. We've watched his character evolve ever since his first appearance in 2011. Same with Zemo, because he survived Civil War. He came back in Falcon and the Winter Soldier and became more interesting. His ideological debates with Sam were better than any of the action scenes. Imagine if Killmonger lived. Imagine him in Wakanda forever, in prison, forced to watch his dream of Wakandan outreach actually happen, but his way, through Namor's invasion threat. Imagine that conversation between him and Shuri. We lost that. We lose that constantly. Marvel treats villains like disposable boss battles instead of long-term investments. Quick question: would you rather have one unforgettable villain who haunts 3 movies, or 10 forgettable ones who die before the credits roll? Marvel keeps choosing option 2, and it's hurting the franchise.
What kind of place is this?
Theory is nice, but let me show you how this works in practice. I'm going to rebuild 2 of the many Phase 4 and 5's villain disappointments using my principles. Let's start with Taskmaster. Give me Tony Masters, cocky, brilliant, and dangerously principled. The kind of guy who thinks he's saving the world by exposing it. Here's the pitch: a former S.H.I.E.L.D. field analyst. His job used to be watching heroes, their tactics, their movements, their weaknesses. But when S.H.I.E.L.D. collapsed, he didn't pick a side. He sold what he knew. So he did what Natasha refused to do: sell that chaos. He became a freelancer, offering hero-level combat efficiency to the highest bidder. Dreykov and the Red Room saw value in that, not as their puppet, but as their contracted tactician. Now you have a villain who isn't just a physical threat. He's a philosophical mirror to Natasha. Tony Masters' arc is about embracing it, accepting that in a broken world, being a weapon is power. So when they face off, it's not just skill versus skill, it's ideology versus ideology. Taskmaster could escape during the chaos of the Red Room's destruction. That allows Valentina to later recruit him for Thunderbolts, tying into his freelancer mentality perfectly. Different boss, same paycheck. A villain you can keep using beyond Phase 6 instead of wasting him off in the first act of the Thunderbolts. Next would be Gorr. Christian Bale deserved better. The character deserved better. We all did. But Taika Waititi's tone, half comedy, half chaos, undercut what could have been a masterpiece. In my version, we keep the tragic prologue. He finds the Necrosword. But here's the twist. Gorr isn't just wiping out gods for revenge. He's exposing them. He sees himself as a prophet, a truth teller.
What a neat story!
Suddenly, Thor's mission isn't just about stopping Gorr. It's about justifying his own existence. Why do gods deserve to live if they don't protect the people who worship them? That's not just spectacle. That's philosophy in a cape. That's the kind of movie I'd watch twice. You know what all these redesigns have in common? They make the villain personal. They make the conflict matter. Because here's the truth we keep forgetting. Spectacle is empty without stakes. CGI armies are meaningless without emotional weight. That's what we're missing. That's what my fixes bring back. So here's where it gets really interesting.
This is it! All of the clues are coming together.
Imagine these principles being applied to what's actually coming. Doctor Doom is the make-or-break moment. If Marvel fumbles Doom, the villain problem becomes terminal. Here's what they could have done. I've always believed that Avengers Doomsday needed to be split into two parts. The first movie would be to properly explore Doctor Doom's backstory, so we can have a full grasp of his motives, which should tie directly into the multiversal stakes and set up the second movie that now has a solid foundation to build on. Marvel needed more than 18 movies to set up Thanos, so how could they possibly set up a compelling Doctor Doom in a single 3-hour movie? But hey, we've got the Russo brothers. They're the professionals who get paid the big bucks to deliver spectacles. And I'm just a YouTuber, so I guess we'll just have to trust them. The title change from Kang Dynasty tells us everything. Jonathan Majors' situation forced a pivot, but honestly, it might be a blessing. What if Doomsday isn't about one villain, but the consequence of all the past actions from the Fox X-Men universe? With Franklin Richards potentially playing a major role, judging from the post-credit scene in Fantastic Four: First Steps, the conflict between Reed Richards, his father, and Doctor Doom can't just be evil genius versus good genius. It has to be personal, philosophical. Get that right, and Doom could probably surpass Thanos in Phase 6. Let me ask you something. When was the last time you left a Marvel movie genuinely worried about what comes next? Not hyped, not excited about cameos, actually worried for the heroes because the villain felt like a real, insurmountable threat. Infinity War, right? When Thanos won, when half the universe was blipped and we had to wait a whole year not knowing how they'd fix it. That's the feeling we need back. That's what great villains give us. There's one more principle I haven't mentioned yet. The most important one. Villains must have conviction. Not motivation, conviction. The unshakable belief that they're right. That their path, however dark, is the only path. Thanos had conviction. He didn't monologue about his plan, he mourned it.
I'm sorry, little one.
He knew the cost, he paid it anyway. That's what separates a forgettable antagonist from an unforgettable villain. It's not powers, it's not army size, it's not even body count. It's the moment when the villain looks at the hero and you, the audience, feel a tiny, terrible spark of, what if they're right? Namor had it in Wakanda Forever. Only the most broken people can be great leaders. You felt that. Wanda had it in Multiverse of Madness. You break the rules and you become a hero. I do it, and I become the enemy.
This doesn't seem fair.
She wasn't wrong. That's the secret sauce. That's what turns a plot device into a character you'll argue about with friends for years. Here's the thing that keeps me up at night. We're at a tipping point. The MCU has spent 5 years building a multiverse, but you can't build a cinematic universe on heroes alone. You need the darkness to make the light matter. You need the chaos to make order precious. You need villains who are so compelling that when the heroes finally win, it feels earned, not inevitable. Endgame worked because Thanos was inevitable, because beating him required sacrifice, loss, and 5 years of our heroes at their absolute best. If Doomsday and Secret Wars want to match that, they need villains worthy of the name. And you know what's wild? Everything I've laid out, deeper backstories tied to multiversal stakes, moral ambiguity that makes us question who the real hero is, long-term rivalries that span phases, not just acts, psychological depth that makes spectacle matter, and above all, villains with unshakable conviction in their terrible, beautiful vision. Marvel has already done this. They know how. Guardians 3 gave us the High Evolutionary. Wakanda Forever gave us Namor. The template for great villains exists inside their own franchise. They just need to stop treating antagonists like disposable obstacles and start treating them like what they are, the other half of the story. Because a universe of infinite possibilities deserves villains who are infinitely compelling. As we wrap up, I want you to imagine walking out of Avengers Doomsday or Secret Wars with that same feeling you had with Endgame and Infinity War. That same awe. That same sense that you just watched something impossible. Not because of the spectacle, not because of the cameos, because the villain was so good, so complex, so compelling that defeating them actually meant something. That's possible. That's doable. Marvel just has to choose it, and we, the fans who've been here since Iron Man, who cried at Endgame, who kept showing up even when the movies stumble, we deserve to witness that epic conclusion in the next 2 Avengers movies. So if you made it this far, if this resonated with you, here's what I need. Hit that like and subscribe button, because the MCU doesn't just need better villains, it needs us to remind them why villains matter in the first place. Also, let me hear from you. Do you agree with my proposed principles to fix the MCU villain problem, or do you have something better? Drop your takes in the comments. I'll be responding to all. Thanks for watching.